Okay, so for today, inshallah ta'ala, I want to talk about the history of fasting and Ramadan. Well, first of all, we hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. O those of you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon those who came before you, so that perhaps you will attain taqwa or piety. So there's actually many things we learn from this ayah, but for us right now it's relevant. What we're talking about is fasting being prescribed upon those who came before us, meaning the prophets and their nations and their people that came before us. Fasting was always there. It was always a part of spirituality. Now, the way the fasting or the specifics of the fast may have differed, but fasting in terms of holding back for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that was always there. It's not something which is new. Now, in terms of Islamically, for the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fasting was obligated upon the Muslims, I believe, in the second year of Hijrah, meaning after the Muslims had emigrated from Mecca to Medina. And I think the Prophet ﷺ fasted a total of 9 total Ramadans in his life, and actually because of that we know a lot about the fasts of the Prophet ﷺ. We know a lot about how the Prophet ﷺ was in the month of Ramadan. We'll talk about those in future videos, inshaAllah ta'ala. The obligations of Islam, they came in the what is known as the second phase, so not the Meccan phase, but the phase where the Muslims had moved to Medina. And also, when fasting was first prescribed on the Muslims, they had a choice. They could either feed the poor and needy, or they could actually fast the way we fast right now. And initially that's how it was until it was prescribed that we have to fast, and feeding the poor and needy was only left to those people who are unable to fast. And actually there are many things we learn from that. First of all is the step-by-step process through which matters were legislated or obligated upon the Muslims. And what we learn from that is that when we are calling other people to goodness, we can't expect them to become like a super Muslim all of a sudden. We have to understand that it takes time. Spirituality takes time. People need to start with small things and then build upon that. Sometimes we're in a rush to make somebody the perfect Muslims, and we'll get on their case and start hammering them with fatwas and things like that. That's the first lesson. Second lesson is that there's always been a relationship between the poor and hungry and fasting. So with fasting, one of the things that we get out of fasting is we get a sense, or we're supposed to get a sense of empathy towards those who may go hungry. SubhanAllah, even with all the money and wealth and everything and resources in the world today, there are still a lot of people in the world who go hungry. And so as a Muslim, we fast, and one of the wisdoms behind fasting is to feel that sense of empathy towards them, so we feel kind of like we feel what they're going through. And because of that, we're supposed to open our hearts to them and be as helpful and giving as possible. Alright, so that's just a little bit about the history of fasting. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll see you in the next video.